Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is February 21st, 2024, and it's been revealed that Barcelona are still paying former players, including Lionel Messi, even though they are gone. Also, Thomas Tuchel is now a real option for Barcelona to replace Xavi Hernandez. And finally, Barcelona are tracking several players at Bayern Munich amid an incoming change in the locker room of the German club. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mo, and this is Barca News' live podcast, which is on every Mondays and Wednesdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where not only do we discuss the news, but I get to interact with all of you wonderful people in the chat section by reading your comments out loud, answering any questions, and getting a discussion going. Of course, this is not to be confused with the post-match live analysis, where we analyze Barcelona matches. Now, we'll be adding timestamps in the description and chapters in the timeline as soon as this ends for those people who just want to skip through the discussion and get to the news. And as always, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment. All of this helps this channel continue to grow. Now, let's begin with the news because it's been revealed that Barcelona are still paying salaries of former players who have already left. Now, as I reported in yesterday's video, La Liga have officially reduced Barcelona's wage limit from 270 million euros down to 204 million euros. That's approximately 66 million euros less from a few months ago. And it's approximately 450 million euros less than last year. And a lot of people keep wondering, why is Barcelona's wage limit keeps getting reduced and reduced? Well, it turns out Barcelona are still paying money from previous years, more specifically from COVID, including the salaries of Lionel Messi, Jordi Alba, and Sergio Busquets. Now, these were some of the highest paid players that Barcelona had, thanks to the contract renewals that Bartomeu gave them, where he gave them highly inflated salaries, all kinds of bonuses, variables, you name it. And then, of course, when COVID came, Barcelona's, just like any other clubs, their income dropped drastically, and since Barcelona's wage limit or wage bill, was so high that Barcelona could not navigate the COVID market. So all they could do is reach an agreement with the players to defer their salary. And this is what a lot of confusion comes in, because a lot of people think that the players agreed to reduce their salary. They didn't agree to reduce it. They agreed to defer it, which means pay me part of the salary now, and then you pay me the other part later. It's different than a reduction when you just agree to get paid less. In a deferral, you're still getting paid your full salary. You're just getting it in chunks or in payment plans. But anyways, these are some of the players who accepted a salary deferral, given how high the salaries were of Jordi Alba, Busquets, and Messi. Barcelona are still paying till today their salaries, even though Busquets and Alba left last season, and even though Messi left 3 years ago. But Barcelona are still paying for the salaries of these players, and their salaries are still being computed or being calculated as part of the wage bill. And not only them, but there's also Nikola Mirotic. If you don't know who he is a Barcelona basketball player. He was the highest paid basketball player, which Barcelona parted way with, and they are also paying his salary till today. Now, of course, this is a big problem for Barcelona because their wage bill doesn't only include football players, includes all the sporting teams that Barcelona has. That includes the women's team, hockey team, basketball team, handball team. There's other teams, I can't remember which ones, but all of them count under the same wage bill. So this is, of course, a big problem for Barcelona because that leaves very little margin to sign new players or to register new contracts. Now, speaking of salaries, of course, we all know that yesterday, Frenkie de Jong asked to be included in the press conference with Xavi Hernandez ahead of today's Champions League clash. And he absolutely blasted the media outlets, saying that they're all liars, that they're lying about his future at Barcelona, that he wants to stay, not that he wants to leave, and two, that his salary is not as high as the media outlets have been claiming. Now, after Frenkie de Jong blasted the media outlets today. His friend and reporter Luis Canut has once again come out in defense of Frenkie de Jong and has talked about same thing, the lies that the media are currently spreading about the Dutch midfielder. Now, if you don't know who Luis Canut is, he's a very close friend of Frenkie de Jong. He's a reporter. He's also a very close friend of Ronald Koeman. He's the reporter that kind of Frenkie de Jong uses to leak things to the press. You know, all players have a reporter who they're very close with, and then when they want to kind of like leak their story to the press or their side of their version of events to the press, they always have a reporter they go to. Well, Luis Canut is the guy that Frenkie de Jong goes to. And that's why I was very surprised when Frenkie de Jong got upset at the media saying that they're liars, that they're lying about his future, because the whole doubts about his future came from Luis Canut himself, Frenkie de Jong's friend. When he came out in an interview, it said Frenkie de Jong is having doubts about staying in Barcelona because he's been disappointed. So I was very surprised that Frenkie was mad at the media outlets when he should be mad at his friend, because it was his friend who said that. But anyways, Luis Canut has come out once again and clarified the whole salary thing. He says that Frenkie de Jong's salary is not the 20 million euros net that the media outlet have been reporting, or 40 million euros gross. He's claiming that Frenkie de Jong's salary is actually 16 million euros gross, which totals out about 8 or 8.5 million euros net for Frenkie. And he does admit that Frenkie does have bonuses and variables in his contract, which of course do increase that 8 million euro figure. But he's saying it doesn't come close to the 20 million euros that the media outlet have been claiming. Now, Luis Canut also made another claim, which I thought was very interesting, but he said that the reason why Frenkie de Jong is so mad at the media is because there's some people, he didn't specify who, on social media who have been leaking Frenkie de Jong's personal and intimate details about him, about his wife, and that's why Frenkie is so mad. And if that's true, which I don't know because I haven't seen it, but if that's true, then I completely understand, because that's absolutely disgusting. I don't think anyone has the right to be doing that. You know, Frenkie de Jong is an athlete. We can talk about his performance on the field all day. We can talk about his salary. But when it comes to his private life, that's his private life. And no reporter should get involved in that. I think that's a line that nobody should cross. And Luis Canut is claiming there's a lot of people on social media who are crossing that line. And that's why Frenkie has been so mad at the media. And that's why he felt the need also to address the media yesterday, asking to be included in the press conference with Xavi Hernandez. Anyways, let's do the chat section, and then we will talk about Thomas Tuchel, because Tony Juan Martí is reporting that Thomas Tuchel is now a real option for Barcelona to replace Xavi Hernandez. All right, I see a lot of people in the chat section. Awesome. Torreira says, hello, Mo. Is there a possibility to send you an email? I couldn't find your email address in your account. Great. Inga from Germany. Okay. If you go to the, I think it's the info tab on the channel. There's I think it's called About. It's the last tab, because there's, a tab for videos, for lives, for shorts. And then the last one, it says, I think it's About, shows you like when the channel started, how many videos, etc. There should be the email. And if not, you can send me a message through the channel's Instagram account, which is Barca News. It's barca.news29. It's also in the tab of the YouTube channel. You can do it through there as well. Okay, Big says, hey Mo, why would take Tuchel if we can get Flick and De Zerbi? Tuchel is a leftover from Bayern. I'll talk about Tuchel in a little bit, so I don't want to get ahead of myself. Let's see. Joe says, hi Mo, is it true Hansi Flick is officially to Barcelona? No, it's not official, but he's definitely, I want to say the final two between him and De Zerbi. I think Flick is a little bit more favored than De Zerbi right now. He's definitely in pole position, I would say, but it's not official. Dem Foray says, why Laporta and the company doesn't put not long PSV left wing in their list? I'm literally forgot about this guy, and he also ballers. I don't know, my friend. You would have to ask Laporta and them. I cannot answer questions for the board. Not the Gamer says, can you explain the wage bill? Is it like the max salary cap or like the amount of salary left for use? So there's two things. There's the salary limit, the wage bill, and the salary cap are two different things, right? The wage bill is the total of how much Barcelona spends on salaries. That includes everybody's salaries. All the players from the first team, the coaches, trainers, physical trainers, etc. and everyone else, all the players from all the other teams in La Masia, Barça B, Juvenil A, Juvenil B, Cadete, all the other sports team, the women's football team, the hockey team, the basketball team, the handball team. So that's how much Barcelona spends on all the salaries within all the entire institution, FC Barcelona, right? That's the wage bill. That's the total of how much Barcelona spends on salaries, which right now sits at 400 million euros. The salary cap is how much La Liga allows you to spend on salaries, right? So to put it into terms, the wage bill is, let's say, how much money you have in your pocket. Salary cap is how much your mom, let's say, allows you to spend, right? Where she's like, okay, yeah, you have $100, but you can't spend it all on your shoes. You have to, spend some on here, some on there. You can't spend it all on candy. Kind of like, if you want to put it into that terms, that's the difference. And then the wage cap is calculated based on the club's revenues and how much they're spending. It's like a really tricky formula, but it's pretty much how much La Liga is telling. It's La Liga telling you how you can spend your money. Pretty much, you're saying, yeah, you have this much money, but you can only use this much towards salaries of players. It's done for two reasons. The number one reason is to make it, more like, to make it a little bit more fair, where the big clubs are not like outspending small clubs by a lot, even though it still happens. And the second reason is to protect the clubs from themselves. It's kind of like, oh, I'm making, €1 billion a year, but I'm spending 2 billion on salaries. Obviously, you're going to go bankrupt because you're spending more than what you're making. So La Liga says, no, hold on. You cannot spend more than what you're making. You have to spend only a percentage of what you're making. That way you don't go bankrupt. Which begs the question, where the hell was La Liga when Bartomeu was president and was spending the club's money left and right? And where were they? Now, all of a sudden that we have a president who's responsible and who's trying to put the club back on course, now all of a sudden La Liga is concerned about Barcelona's finances. Where were they all those years when Bartomeu was president? But anyways, let's talk about the big news today, because Tony Juan Martí, a reporter who's very close to Barcelona, has reported that now Thomas Tuchel is a real option for Barcelona. Why is he saying that? Because you might have heard the news by now, but Bayern Munich and Thomas Tuchel have reached an agreement to part ways at the end of the season. So Thomas Tuchel will be a free agent this summer. His job with Bayern will end at the end of the season because Bayern right now are not doing well. It looks like they're going to be losing the first Bundesliga title in I don't know how many years. I think 10 or something. They've already been knocked out of the German Cup. And in the Champions League, they just lost the first leg of the round of 16 against Lazio. So not doing well at all. And as such, Bayern Munich have decided to part ways with Thomas Tuchel at the end of the season. So Tony Juan Martí says that puts Tuchel as a real option for Barcelona. Now, why does he think that? Well, it's no secret that Joan Laporta has always been a fan of Tuchel. When Joan Laporta was a candidate for president, he spoke about, wanting a German coach, Klopp, Flick, Nagelsmann, and Tuchel was amongst that list. In fact, Joan Laporta had reached out to Tuchel to see what was the possibility of him hiring him as a coach when Laporta became president. But at the time, I think Tuchel was at Chelsea, and given his contract, it was just not a possibility, so it didn't materialize. But Laporta has always been a big fan of Tuchel, especially how Tuchel has developed a lot of the young players at Dortmund. We all know that Barcelona are looking for a coach who can develop the young talent, because Barcelona have a lot of young talent right now, a lot of promising young talent that needs to be developed. So now that Tuchel will be a free agent, Tony Juan Martí saying that he will be a real option for Barcelona. I have my doubts, and I'll tell you why. Yes, Joan Laporta was a huge fan of Tuchel, but that was perhaps, what was that, 3 years ago when Laporta was a candidate. And since then, a lot of things have happened, right? Tuchel was sacked from Chelsea. He went to PSG. Then he was sacked from there. Now he's practically being sacked from Bayern Munich. So his career from when Laporta wanted to hire him until now has not been going well. So I don't think that Laporta is going to be as keen on hiring Tuchel as he was 3 years ago when Laporta was a candidate for the presidency. Now, of course, we don't know yet because the news that Tuchel will leave Bayern did not break until today. So the next few days will be crucial to see how does Laporta and the board react to this. Are they going to be happy and they're going to try to go after Tuchel? Or are they going to stick to their two options right now, which are Hansi Flick or De Zerbi? Now, Flick does have a leg up over De Zerbi because of his experience. He's managed a big club. He's managed a lot of stars. He won a sextuple. And the fact that he's a free agent. But so has Tuchel. He has also managed big clubs. And he will also be a free agent, unlike De Zerbi, who has a 10 million euro release clause. So we'll have to wait and see how Laporta reacts to this. My sense is that probably Barcelona will consider it, but I don't think Laporta is going to be keen on Tuchel as much as he was 3 years ago when he was a candidate, because since then, Tuchel's career has not been doing too well. All right, let's go back to the chat section, and then we will talk about the Bayern Munich players that Barcelona are currently tracking as a possible signings for the summer. All right, let's see. Larana Kule says, when you have two clubs that equally suck in form, today's the result. You get, I know they're third and they're 11th, but we're lucky. Yeah, it was honestly watching Barcelona versus Barcelona. Two teams with no idea what to do, very slow with their ball movement, completely predictable. What can I say? Not the Gamer says, who do you prefer, Flick or De Zerbi? So that's a difficult question, honestly, because I like both. I think De Zerbi would do a wonderful job with our young players, and I think Flick could probably implement like immediate change. And I'm not saying immediate as in, next season we're going to win a treble or anything like that, but I think he definitely knows how to turn things around in the team. So that's hard. And then De Zerbi might not have never managed a big club, but his resume is longer. Flick has managed big clubs, but his resume is short. So they both have their pluses and minuses. I think if I absolutely have to choose one, like gun to my head, I want to say Flick, but only by a little, because I think both are solid options. I don't know. It's a tough one. Hawaii says, no Tuchel. I prefer De Zerbi if possible. Yeah. I prefer either Flick or Tuchel over, Flick or De Zerbi over Tuchel, to be honest. Met Play says, even though we were a bit poor in possession play and did mistake in passing, but I still will say it was a good match. No, it was not, my friend. It was not. It was a good first 20 minutes, maybe 25 minutes, but the rest of the match went from worse to worse to worse to worse to worse to worse. Towards like last 10 minutes, we weren't even touching the ball. We were just like, total chaos. But Blaurana Kule says that Harry Kane curse is alive and well. That's funny because I literally said that. I think it was 2 days ago. I texted my friends because that's when Bayern had just lost another match. It was over the weekend. And I texted him. I was like, that the Harry Kane curse, it's real. We need Madrid to sign Harry Kane as their striker. But anyways, let's get back. Speaking of Bayern Munich, but let's talk about the different players that Barcelona are currently tracking as possible sign-ins for the summer. Now, we all know that Bayern Munich are not doing too well right now. They have agreed to part ways with Tuchel at the end of the season, and they're talking about a complete cleanup of their locker room. Seems that Bayern believe that there are several players who are not performing as well as their salaries are. Like, they're getting paid a lot of money, but not performing as much as they're supposed to, according to how much money they're making. There are other players who are up for renewal and are asking for a lot more money. And Bayern believe that they don't deserve that money because they're not performing according to what they're asking for. So Bayern Munich are looking to do a total revolution, total cleanup of the locker room in the summer. They're looking to get everything, new coach, new staff, and they're looking to get rid of a lot of players because they just want to start fresh. Which, by the way, I commend them to. I wish we could do that. I wish we could just clean half the locker room gone, coach everything. But of course, two different clubs and with two different circumstances. Bayern don't have all the financial problems that we have. But that's what Bayern want to do. And there's talks that Bayern could be putting 4 players on the market. And Barcelona are currently tracking that to see if that really does happen. And if it does happen, how much money would Bayern want? And if there's a possibility of signing any of these 4 players. Now, who are the 4 players? Well, number 1 is Leroy Sané, whose contract is set to expire in 2025. And there's rumors that Bayern Munich could be putting him on the market. Seems that renewal talks between Bayern and Sané are not going as well as possible for whatever reason, whether it's Bayern who don't like what they see, whether it's Sané, I don't know. But the negotiations between the two are not going as well as parties would have hoped for. And if obviously the contract does not get renewed, since Sané does leave in 2025, if he doesn't renew, this summer will be the last chance for Bayern Munich to make money off him. Otherwise, if they don't sell him this summer, he would leave as a free agent the following year. Now, the 28-year-old does play on the right wing, but he is flexible, can also play on the left. So that, of course, does make him a attractive option for Barcelona because they do need someone for the left wing. That's a priority for the summer. But also, it would be nice to have someone on the right who can alternate with Lamine Yamal, because as we've seen, Rafinha is not it, and Lamine Yamal cannot just play in that position by himself. Now, the second player who Barcelona are tracking and that Bayern Munich could be putting on the market is, of course, Joshua Kimmich. Out of these 4 names, he's the most likely name to leave Bayern in the summer. We know that just like Sané, his contract expires in the summer of 2025. Kimmich has been incredibly unhappy at Bayern. He's not looking to renew, or for now, he's not looking to renew. I don't know, maybe they bring a new coach and they convince him. But for now, he's not looking to renew. And since he's not going to renew this summer, just like Sané, will be Bayern's last chance to offload Kimmich and make some money off him. Otherwise, he would leave next summer for free. Now, Kimmich has been linked for Barcelona for quite some time. Barcelona have been wanting to sign Kimmich. Of course, before it was almost impossible because he was a cornerstone of Bayern's project. There's no way that Bayern were going to want to part with him. And even if they did, they were going to ask for a lot of money. But now things have changed a lot. Now they're talking about Kimmich wanting to leave. Since there's only a year left on his contract, that makes his price a lot more affordable. And they're saying that Bayern might ask for around 40 to 50 million euros for the 29-year-old, which it's not too crazy for Barcelona. Barcelona could pay that. And again, out of these 4 names, he's the most likely option to for sure leave. Now, the third player that Bayern could end up putting on the market is Kingsley Coman, the 27-year-old left winger. Again, Barcelona will be prioritizing 2 positions in the summer, the pivot position and the left wing. And of course, where does Coman play? On the left wing. And even though his contract expires in 2027, it's reported that Bayern Munich could end up placing him on the market as part of this whole locker room cleanup that they're looking to do in the summer. And if that happens, Barcelona will be very attentive to the situation to see whether they can sign him. And the final name, and this one is a maybe. This is a big question mark. That's what the reports are saying. I personally completely doubt it, but the reports are saying that Bayern Munich could consider offloading Musiala. That's, to me, I do not believe. Even though there are reports confirming this, I personally don't believe that. I do not see Bayern Munich wanting to get rid of Jamal Musiala. He's only 20 years old. He's an incredibly talented, very promising player. And if Bayern Munich are looking to do a cleanup and build a whole new squad, why would they get rid of a 20-year-old who's incredibly promising talent? So I don't see it happening at all. I think it's just a rumor or lies or whatever it might be. But that's what the reports are saying, that Bayern Munich could consider that. It's a big maybe. It's not for sure, but I don't even think it's a maybe. I think it's a no. I just don't see Bayern Munich wanting to get rid of Musiala. It's like Barcelona wanted to get rid of Gabi or Pedri. I just don't see it happening. But that's what the reports are saying. But even if Bayern do put Musiala on the market, his contract expires in 2026, and he currently has a market value of 110 million, which teams usually don't ask for market value. They always ask for higher. So if I had to guess, put a number, I would think they would want something between 100 to 150 million. So even if Bayern Munich put Musiala on the market, which I don't see it happening, even if they do, I think this would be completely out of reach for Barcelona. But nonetheless, that's the news. Bayern Munich looking to do a big cleanup of their locker room. As such, they will be putting a lot of players on the market. And Barcelona are monitoring the situation, seeing what's going to happen, and see maybe they can snap up one of the players, because usually when teams are going through turmoil, that's the best time to go and shop, because clubs are desperate to get rid of them and they'll be willing to negotiate versus trying to negotiate with a club where things are all going great, smooth. They're going to be, much more difficult negotiators. All right, let's do the comment section. Sorry, that bit of news was long, but there's a lot of names to get through. All right, let's see. Where did we leave off? Sean says, if Barca tracking Bayern players, then Barca can't hire Tuchel. He is the reason why many of the players want to leave. Look, Bayern has been having problems way before Tuchel. I wouldn't blame it all on Tuchel. Obviously, he's not helping the situation, but I wouldn't say he's the one responsible for what's happening in Bayern. Bayern has been on a decline because all teams go through cycles. So, right, they had their golden generation, whatever you want to call it, who won the sextuple, and as all teams who go up, 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 and then reach the top. And for Bayern, that was a sextuple. And after that, they start doing this. So Bayern's been on decline for a while. Their players have been aging. I wouldn't say it's Tuchel's fault. The decline was already from before. But the good thing for them is that they're acting quick, right? Because all teams go through ebbs and flows, right? But as a club, you have to be able to mitigate the ebbs. And Bayern are trying to mitigate that by doing a full cleanup. We had a completely inept and corrupt board in Bartomeu's that when we started doing the ebb, which was after Luis Enrique, they didn't know what to do. So they couldn't mitigate it, and we just kept going nosediving. Now that Laporta's taking over, we're finally starting to try to do this. We're not there yet, but at least we're not nosediving. So I wouldn't say it's Tuchel, Let's see. Samuel says Barcelona need players like Kimmich and Sané. Indeed, they will be a great addition to the team. And Mark says Bayern are not letting go of these players. Manager is already leaving end of season. Reports are that they can't confirm that these players for sure. But one thing for sure is that Bayern are looking to get rid of players. Not just Tuchel. Because they believe that it's not just a coach problem. Unlike many Barcelona fans who just want to blame everything on the players or just Xabi, and then you don't realize that it's both. Bayern know that the problem lies in both. They have some players who are not performing that need to go, and they have a coach who's not helping the situation who also needs to go. So they're looking to do a full cleanup. They're not just looking, let's get rid of the coach, bring someone else, and that's it, and just put a Band-Aid on it. They're looking to address the problem at its roots. Now, I cannot confirm that these names will for 100% sure leave, but one thing is for sure that Bayern are looking to get rid of players. Kimmich is unhappy, and if he doesn't renew, and Sané, if he doesn't renew, they will have to. Even if they don't want to, they will have to. Because if both don't renew, next summer or in summer 2025, they would leave for free. And Bayern they're not stupid. They're not going to let two players with great market values just leave for free. All right, let's see. SSB says Barca should go for Klopp and let him build. Klopp already confirmed again once again today that he is not looking to coach anybody next year. He's looking to take a year off, and he was at the helm of Liverpool for 9 years. That takes its toll. He's exhausted physically, mentally, so he's looking to take a year off. So he confirmed it again today. He had already confirmed it before. He confirmed it again today. So he's not looking to take any jobs. So Klopp is out of the question, not just for us, but for anyone. And I don't blame him. Being a coach is a 24/7 job, and to do that for 9 years, it's exhausting. I wish I could take a whole year off. Lucky them, these coaches, where they can be like, all right, I'm just going to take a year off and not do anything and just vacation around the world. And then once the year's up, well, people still want me. I wish I could do that. Unfortunately, I cannot. But anyways, that is all the news for the podcast. I did a post-match live analysis earlier today. So if you're curious to hear about what my thoughts and analysis were of the match between Barcelona and Napoli, make sure to check it out. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for watching, for your comments, for your likes, your subscriptions. You guys are absolutely amazing. Have a good night or good morning wherever you are. And as always, Visca Barça.